A mystery we never questioned. What if I told you that most economic crises are not accidents, not unpredictable shocks, and not caused by a lack of intelligence? What if the real problem is that humans keep believing the same economic stories, even after those stories collapse again and again, leaving millions poorer, angrier, and confused? From ancient empires to modern global markets, people have repeatedly trusted illusions that felt logical, sounded scientific, and were backed by powerful institutions. And every time those illusions broke, the damage was blamed on something else. Bad luck, bad actors, or bad timing. But the illusion itself, almost never questioned. So why do humans keep falling for the same economic myths despite centuries of evidence? To answer that, we need to go back not to Wall Street, not to central banks, but to the very first economic promises humans ever made to themselves. Setting the stage, the birth of economic stories. Economics is often presented as numbers, charts, and formulas. But at its core, economics is a belief system, a set of shared stories about value, trust, and the future. Thousands of years ago, early civilizations discovered something powerful. If people believe something has value, it does. Gold had no inherent usefulness beyond decoration, yet it became wealth. Paper notes had no intrinsic worth, yet they could buy land and labor. Later, digital numbers on screens became money, even though nothing physical backed them. This worked not because the systems were perfect, but because belief was strong. Over time, institutions emerged to manage these beliefs. Kings, treasuries, banks, governments, each promised stability. Each promised growth. Each promised that this time, the system was under control. But hidden inside these promises was a recurring illusion, one that would repeat across centuries in different forms. Part 1. Origins: the illusion of permanent prosperity. The first major economic illusion is simple. Growth can continue without consequences. Ancient Rome believed it. So did medieval kingdoms. So did industrial nations. Rome expanded its economy through conquest, taxation, and slave labor. Wealth flooded in. Public works expanded.
Ow.
The empire looked unstoppable. But beneath the surface, costs grew faster than productivity. Currency was debased. Inequality widened. Military expenses exploded. To keep the illusion alive, Roman leaders printed more coins with less silver, hoping people wouldn't notice. They did. Inflation followed. Trust collapsed. And the empire that once ruled the world slowly broke apart, not from invasion alone, but from economic self-deception. The pattern was set. Part 2. The rise, credit, leverage, and false confidence. Fast forward to early modern Europe. Banks learned a dangerous trick. They could lend more money than they actually held. As long as not everyone asked for their money back at once, the system worked. This practice, fractional reserve banking, fueled trade, innovation, and rapid growth. It also introduced a new illusion. Risk has been eliminated. In the 1700s, the South Sea Company promised endless profits from trade. Investors rushed in. Prices soared not because of real value, but because everyone believed prices would keep rising. When reality failed to match expectations, the bubble burst. The same story repeated with railways, canals, and industrial stocks. Each time, the illusion evolved. Better math, better institutions, better experts. But the core belief stayed the same. Part 3. Breaking point: when the illusion collapses. By the 20th century, economic illusions became global. The Great Depression didn't begin because people were irrational. It began because they trusted the system. Banks said markets were stable. Governments said growth would continue. Investors said prices only went up. Then credit tightened. Panic spread. Banks failed. Unemployment exploded. In response, governments created safeguards. Central banks, regulations, safety nets, and for a while, it worked. Which led to a new illusion. This time is different. Part 4. Fallout: the modern repeat. The 2008 financial crisis is one of the clearest examples of economic illusion in action. Banks packaged risky loans into safe investments. Rating agencies labeled them low risk. Mathematical models claimed defaults were unlikely. Homebuyers believed prices would always rise. Investors believed risk had been diversified away. Governments believed markets could self-correct. But all of them were wrong. When housing prices fell, the illusion shattered. Trillions vanished. Millions lost homes and jobs. And yet after the collapse, very few core assumptions were changed. The story simply reset. Part 5. Failed fixes. Why solutions don't stick after every crisis. Reforms are introduced. New regulations, new oversight, new promises of responsibility. But over time, memory fades. Risk slowly returns. Leverage increases. Confidence grows. Why? Because economic systems don't fail only due to design flaws. They fail due to human psychology. Humans are wired to overestimate recent success. Trust authority figures, believe patterns will continue, ignore slow-building risks. As long as things seem stable, warnings sound boring. Crashes only make sense in hindsight. Modern parallels, same illusions, new clothes. Today's economy runs on digital money, complex derivatives, and global debt. But the illusions remain familiar. Debt doesn't matter as long as growth continues. Central banks can control everything. Markets always recover. Technology has eliminated cycles. Global debt is now multiple times higher than global GDP. Asset prices are disconnected from wages. Entire markets move on sentiment rather than fundamentals. These are not signs of innovation alone. They are echoes of past cycles. The difference? This time, the system is bigger, faster, more interconnected. Which means when illusions break, consequences spread further. The core question: if humans know this pattern, if history shows the outcome again and again, why do we keep believing? Because economic illusions don't feel like lies. They feel like optimism, feel like progress, they feel like hope, and hope is powerful. Final takeaways. Takeaway 1. Economic systems don't collapse suddenly. They collapse after long periods of ignored warning signs. Takeaway 2. Every generation believes its tools are smarter than human nature. They never are. Takeaway 3. The most dangerous economic illusion is believing someone else is in control. Final thought: the next crisis will not come from nowhere. It will come from a belief that feels reasonable today. The question isn't if humans will fall for the illusion again. It's whether enough people will recognize it before it breaks. Call to action if this made you question how much of the economy is built on belief rather than reality. Subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden patterns shaping our world. And ask yourself what economic truth today might be tomorrow's illusion.